So we're going to do one of our hand motion memorizations from a little while back, probably one of the first ones that we did. Do you remember the one about the kingdom of heaven is like little tiny seed? You remember this one? Into a big tree, little bit of yeast makes the dough rise. I didn't even have to say it and you guys knew it. That's awesome. So let's try it again. That's the power of your minds are more powerful than any adult's mind here for memorizing. Isn't that cool? You guys are like superheroes because your mind, God gave you this very special mind when you're little to memorize like this. So if you memorize the Bible right now, it's going to stay there. Just like you guys had it already. So this is the parable of the mustard seed. What is it again? The kingdom of heaven is like little tiny seed into a big, big tree. Little bit of yeast makes the dough rise. You got it. You got it. So when Jesus says, watch out, guard against the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod, guess what he's talking about? He's talking about what we were doing with the hand motions is the good kind of leaven that makes the dough rise. That's yeast. But then Jesus is saying, watch out for the bad kind of leaven that maybe makes the dough rise in a not good way. So think about this. Imagine we're in a chocolate factory. We're at the Hershey chocolate factory. What do you smell? Chocolate. I want you to pretend that you're smelling it around. What are you going to do with your nose and your lungs? And what happens to your heart when you smell that? Does it rise? Does it get happy? Now imagine you're in a really, really, really big trash can. And there's banana peels. There's your little brother or sister's diaper. I know, that kind of trash can. Now imagine, what are your nose and your lungs going to do when you go like this? Yes, exactly. Just like that. Oh, that's horrible. So it makes a difference what we breathe in. If we're out in the fresh air, what's going to happen? We feel energized. What if we're in the middle of the city with lots and lots of cars and trucks that have all this fumes going on? We're going to go like that. So it depends on what's around us that does something inside us. So the leaven of the Pharisees are the kind of things, I guess you can say, are spiritually stinky, spiritually smoky and polluted that's around us. And if we start breathing those things in, then it doesn't make us healthy inside. Sometimes we might have lots of things around us, maybe sometimes bad words. Do we ever have bad words around us sometimes? Yeah. You know, once when I was younger, I was watching a movie and it had some bad words in it. And somehow, I didn't even realize it, but somehow those bad words started to get into my heart. And one day, I was skateboarding, and my mom was right next to me, and I hit a little bump, and I fell, and I landed on my knees. And I said something that wasn't very good, really loud. I'm not going to say what it is, but my mom was right next to me. She said, "Andy, do you know what you just said?" And I couldn't believe that it just came out of my mouth. But then I remembered I had just been watching that movie that had some bad words. And so when I was watching that movie, it was like I was going, and I was breathing in the bad words, and they made me cough spiritually. But when we have good things around us, when we have good images of people caring, loving, forgiving, speaking good words, speaking words that are lifting people up and not tearing them down, when we breathe that in, it makes the dough rise. It makes our love increase, and we become spiritually healthy inside. So that's what Jesus wants to remind us about, and that's also what St. James was talking about when he's talking about these different ways in which the enemy, Satan, he wants to attack us, but he does it by just putting kind of invisible things around us, things that are not good for us, and we just kind of breathe them in, and then they start influencing our heart. So we always have to look and say, what do I surround myself with? What are the kind of things that I'm watching or listening? What are the kind of conversations that are going on around? Because all of those things we breathe in, and we want to make sure they're the good fresh air so that our heart can rise with Jesus instead of rising with the other guy.